one of those days, I guess. Everything you touch takes a little bit extra effort.
It's full moon, yeah, last night.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the People's Church of Divine Prophecy today. Thank you for spending some of your time here today. I'd like to ask everybody to silence their cell phones unless they're medical or law enforcement personnel. We have restrooms down the hall that way. Just jog around and run into them. Cold drinks in the fridge, hot drinks on the table, so help yourself at any time. You see somebody that hasn't been here before, take time to talk to them and greet them. Let's have Sheldon light the candles. We're working to death today. Light the candles to start the service, symbolizing the unity of body, mind, and spirit.
Light the candles for body. Mind. And spirit, which is eternal.
Thank you. We stand for the invocation and remain standing for the first hymn. Dear Father God, we give thanks for this moment here today. May we feel the spiritual purpose of this time, this presence, and the people that we are here with. May we relax our minds and let go of all that drove us here, all that's waiting for us when we leave, and be here in the moment, sensing that true spiritual creation of this time. As we feel that true spiritual creation, we open our hearts to the love and hope, the unlimited presence of God. Amen.
Number 1, open the eyes of my heart,
Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. See you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love. We sing holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Singing holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. I want to see you. Singing holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. I want to see you.
Please be seated. Next portion is a thought for the day from the pastor, where I share something that's come across my existence that I've tried to put into a spiritual perspective through something I believe and I'm trying to make part of my life. I guess the biggest thing that shouted at me today in my meditation was, take it easy on myself.
It's hard to do.
You just, sometimes you just get so introspective of yourself that it gets difficult to see what's in front of you. And it's all done with the best of intentions. You know, you start off with this meditation of thinking about what I can do to be a better person, and then it kind of starts turning around to what I haven't done this week to be a spiritual person, into the wrong things I did to be a spiritual person. And instead of trying to open your mind to that true inspiration from God, you've opened your mind into that criticism of self.
Yeah.
So it's a big circle that you go through sometimes. And it can be pretty detrimental to your state of mind. It can be pretty hard on your peace and serenity that you have about your life. And when that circular type of thinking starts, the only way to stop it is to just stop. Stop trying to justify it, stop trying to reason it, stop trying to feed into it or even think about it. Just get to that point, stop, and start breathing, start thinking of God's light, start thinking of happy things, and just stop trying to reason things through. Because that's the trap that I get into, is my mind is a very analytical mind, and it likes to get involved in things. And if you're thinking with your analytical mind, it's hard to get spiritual inspiration. Spiritual inspiration doesn't care to be analyzed. It doesn't care to justify itself. It clearly states just what it is. You take it as it's stated and try to move forward with it. And then the mind kicks in and tries to analyze, dissect, categorize, and make sense of it in the physical. And that's where my spiritual inspiration usually gets chewed up. So I have to stop, keep to my meditations, and just know that that's the key. Know that the peace is what works. I don't have to know why the peace is in my life. I don't have to know why I want serenity in my life. I just have to feel it and allow it to be there. Spiritual inspiration is a feeling thing, not a thinking thing. And I have to keep that straight. If I start thinking, thinking's good. There's nothing wrong with thinking. And you have to think at certain points. But spiritual inspiration is a feeling thing more than a thinking thing. And I have to kind of watch those types of things when I'm trying to engage with one and not the other. So I just say to you this week, when you start getting a little bound up about things, just stop. Just stop. There's nothing that can't wait till tomorrow if it's giving you a fit today. Just stop. Go sit out by a lake. Go look at a tree. Go look at the sky. Just step out your door and look at the sky. You know, there's a lot of things you can do just to stop that type of thinking, because it's nothing but circular. It just keeps going round and round and round. So I just offer you these observations of mine. And as a spiritualist, I believe in co-development. And part of observing those that's around you as well as yourself is that craft. Thank you for listening. Please stand for the next hymn.
Number 13, Kumbaya.
Kumbaya, my Lord, Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord, Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord, Kumbaya. Oh Lord, Kumbaya. Come by here, my Lord, come by here. Come by here, my Lord, come by here. Come by here, my Lord, come by here. Oh Lord, come by here. Someone sing, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone sing, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone sing, Lord, Kumbaya. Oh Lord, Kumbaya. Someone Someone's praying, Lord, kumbaya. Someone's praying, Lord, kumbaya. Someone's praying, Lord, kumbaya. Oh Lord, kumbaya.
The next portion of the service is a healing, spiritual healing. AshKhen has returned from her working vacation in Arizona, seeing our friend Aolia there, recording a new CD, and going to have it out soon. She's going to be doing meditation today. See what I have to do healings today. I guess it's going to be me, so I'm going to need somebody to ring the bell, I guess. Okay, when you hear this during the meditation, that means the chairs become vacant in front of one of the healers, and there's chairs in the back too, so if these aren't vacant, sit in the back and you'll be moved forward as the healing occurs. And we'll start this by reading the prayer for spiritual healing in the back. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of God.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Get ready for the meditation. Find a comfortable position to sit. Feet straight on the floor. Palms up in your lap. You may close your eyes. And take in a deep breath. Inhale. And exhale. Do a few more times. Breathe in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. With each exhale, let go of the tension in your physical body. You are not experiencing any discomfort, any pain. Just breathe it out. Let it go. Let go of the thoughts that are occupying your mind. If you have any worries, any concerns at this time, again with your breath, just breathe it out. Release it. Let it go. For now. Just bring your awareness to your breath. Engage with the rhythm of your breath. Feel your breath as you breathe, flowing throughout your entire body, your mind, your spirit, relaxing, calming, and soothing. becoming more and more relaxed. And your mind quiet. Feel your breath taking you deeper and deeper within yourself to a very peaceful and quiet space within you that feels serene and tranquil. Connect with this peaceful presence. As you breathe, repeat to yourself gently, I am at peace within and with my surroundings. With each inhale and exhale, I am at peace within and with my surroundings. Feel the peaceful sensations flowing along with your breath. Feel the calmness of your body and the quietness of your mind. I am at peace within and with my surroundings. Embrace this peaceful aspect of your consciousness. This is the true state of your being. Embrace this peaceful aspect of your being. And just be still within. What it is in this stillness that you experience wholeness. It is in the silence and the quietness you feel content with who you are. You are infinite. You are pure and perfect. Embrace this infinite aspect of your being. Feel your breath and the wholeness of your being. Feel yourself slowly shifting higher. Feel your awareness shifting higher. Higher above your head. And connecting with your higher self. The mighty I Am presence that is surrounded with brilliant and bright golden light. As you connect, feel your mind merging with the mind of God, your Creator. God the omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. As you acknowledge this presence, you become aware of the infinity of your spirit. You become aware of the infinite creativity, intelligence, divine knowledge and wisdom that are within your reach. And you merge with this mighty presence by allowing the mind of God to go through your thinking process. And you feel God's creativity unfolding with your thoughts, your intentions, as you are gaining a new perspective, new insights, and new levels of understanding. As you start remembering your true purpose and the lessons you chose to come back and learn and complete, and to live your divine purpose truly and completely by allowing the mind of God to work through your thoughts, through your actions, through your intentions, and your inner actions. Breathe in and breathe out, and in this mighty presence, you become aware of your verbal expressions and your communication skills that is empowering you to speak up your divine truth. You become aware of the infinite love that is present within your heart. It is the love of God that is dominant and vital, a powerful force within you. Become aware of God's loving presence within your heart. As you embrace, you feel this power dissolving the walls of illusion, separation, judgment, dissolving into the unity consciousness, dissolving into the law of oneness, dissolving into the divine love that holds us all together as one consciousness, as one love, without judging, discriminating, separating. As you embrace God's unconditional love and compassion, you become to a new terms of understanding the law of forgiveness and compassion. And with this understanding, you have the courage and the power to forgive and let go. Those who have hurt you, those who have caused you pain. As you forgive and you release, you feel a sense of relief and upliftment. You feel your heart expanding and opening to God's love, where you are able to give love and receive love unconditionally. Feel God's love in your heart. Feel the warmth and the gentleness that is connecting with everyone in your surrounding and the entire humanity throughout the world. Feel that oneness, love. And in this warm and gentle presence, you become aware of the will of God that is in action within you, that is constantly encouraging you, empowering you to accomplish your goals, your desires, and to manifest and materialize your thoughts and intentions that serves your highest good and the highest good of all. Feel the will of God in action within you and surrender. Surrender to the will of God and trust. With God, all things are possible. Allow God's will to materialize in your life. Embrace and trust. Let thy will be done, God, in the highest most. Let thy will be done. As above, so below. Let thy will be done. Embrace your divinity. Embrace your sacred heart. And embrace your sacred mind. For it is the mind of God, alive through His breath. Feel your breath. Feel your awareness is slowly shifting down. Slowly and gently, and integrate this higher vibration, the divine intelligence, the knowledge, the wisdom, and let it manifest and materialize in this physical plane. Let it manifest through your communication, through your action, your interaction with others, and let it be of the highest good. Highest good of yourself, the highest good of humanity, and the highest good of our planet Earth. And wherever you are, just be the light that you are. Be the light that you are. And so it is. Feel your breath slowly bringing you back. come back gently. Engage with your physical senses. Become aware of your feet. Your hands. When you're ready, gently open your eyes and be fully present in the here and now. Thank you.
Thank you for that beautiful meditation, AshKhen. Close this portion with an inspirational reading. The real work in life is to grow spiritually. To do this, you must follow the path diligently seeking good. The hidden spiritual wonders are revealed to those who diligently seek this treasure. From one point to the next, you have to follow the way of God's will until finally you reach greater and greater spiritual heights. Work on the material plane should be secondary to your real life's work. The material things which you need most are those which help you attain the spiritual. Please stand for the next hymn.
Number 18, Peace by the River.
Peace by the river, I got peace by the river. I got peace by the river in my soul. I got peace by the river. I got peace by the river. I got peace by the river in my soul. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul.
Please be seated. The next portion is the inspirational lecture. And on today, I'd just like to take a moment to remind everybody that it is Father's Day. Special thanks to all the fathers that are here today. Dr. Reverend Sheldon Ganberg is an ordained unity minister. He's a Florida licensed acupuncture and has earned his PhD in spiritual psychology.
All right.
He has an approach to Oriental medicine which is multifaceted and works in a no-nonsense consciousness, such as Qigong meditation, and he does like trance work also. So he's also, I've known him for quite a couple of years now, and he's been a pleasure to know, and very introspective with his questions. So please welcome Dr. Reverend Sheldon Ganberg. See if we can get this one to work for him.
I don't think Mercury retrograde.
No, it isn't. It went direct last Friday.
Okay, well.
I keep up with the astrology. Now you can make your decision.
There's something in retrograde, right?
Mars.
Mars, I knew it.
And it was closest to the sun, 12 years across the sun, 2 weeks ago. Mercury, why is it retrograde? So there was a lot of headaches.
See, everyone's really casual here, so I'm going to take my coat off. Yeah, these things. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
When I signed up to speak today. It was quite a while ago because there's a long waiting list of people to get in here. I didn't realize that it was Father's Day. And so I thought about it and I said to myself, oh my God, I don't know if I want to talk about Father's Day. Because of my own interesting relationship with my dad. So I wrote, I got put together a talk, and I looked it over, and I said, well, it doesn't feel right. And so I did that another time, came up with something else, and I looked at it and I said, nah, this doesn't feel right. Did it one more time, and I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk about Father's Day, because I feel that that's something that I need to do for myself, and I gained quite a bit going through the process of thinking about it, and I'm hoping that maybe one or two of you will also get something out of it as well. The title of my talk is The Divine Father. My father was a New York City taxi driver. Yep, I grew up in New York in the Bronx, a couple of blocks away from Yankee Stadium. And my dad, we grew up in a poor household. We didn't have any money. It was quite a challenge growing up in the Bronx and in a ghetto area, actually. My dad worked 14 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. And as a result, I hardly saw my dad. And when I did, he was irritable from feeling exhausted. But as a kid, I didn't understand that. All I knew was my dad was pissed off all the time. Pardon the English. He would often sit in his chair, falling asleep watching TV. And so growing up, I felt as if I had a big hole inside, because I really didn't have a relationship with my dad. I tried to fill that hole up with alcohol, drugs, relationships, food, and any other way I can think of. And then eventually, workaholism and perfectionism became my drugs of choice. And I went back to school and received one advanced degree after the other. Yeah, I have a lot of letters after my name. But no matter what I did or what I accomplished, I couldn't fill up the empty space inside. That father space. You see, those of us that never knew our fathers have been greatly impacted by it, whether we realize it or not. Yeah, it's easy to rationalize, it's really easy to say, oh, everything is okay. But when you get down to it, at least in my life, I'm not speaking for anybody else, there's always been that empty space there. And in many households, our moms did the best that they could to fill the gap of the missing dad, whether they were there or not. But unfortunately, in most cases, it didn't quite work. Over the years, I have learned that our children, both girls and boys, need different things from their mothers and their fathers. Yeah, males have feminine energy. Females have masculine energy. But there's something there, and it really has to do with the modeling of masculine and feminine energy. Hope that's not my dad. I have to admit that I'm one of those dads that was neglected by my dad and passed that neglect on to my son. Not on purpose, but nevertheless, I did what I was taught. I was a good provider, I protected my family, and I worked 6 to 7 days a week. And I watched TV in the evenings and fell asleep in my chair, just like my dad. And I did the best that I could with what was mirrored to me. On the other hand, looking back, some of what appeared to be negative qualities that I learned from my dad were actually positive. Being a good provider, loyalty, my dedication to protecting my family, and I'm deeply grateful to my dad for that. In that way, he was a great role model. And so in retrospect, because of the many years in therapy and recovery, and believe me, I've had many years of therapy and recovery, I have come to realize how important it is for men and women to reflect upon what constitutes healthy fathering and masculinity as we support and guide our children physically and emotionally and spiritually. In many cases, kids grow up becoming parents and eventually parent the way they were parented. So many men who say they want to be the opposite of their fathers actually end up resembling them in many of the ways they try to avoid. And I really worked hard at that. And so this was partly true for me. One of the things that I've learned in therapy and through metaphysical teachings is that healthy fathering comes from the inside out. I learned I had to pay attention to my own internal promptings of what a healthy father could be. Each and every one of us, male or female, has the capacity to go within to heal our woundedness. And as we heal, we can listen to and hear our inner Father and Divine Father. But it takes a certain amount of reflection, it takes a certain amount of work to be able to get to that point of discernment before we can let go of it. Because if it's stored in our subconscious mind, it often rears its ugly head. Any kind of energy like that could rear its ugly head unless we become aware of it. And then we can move to the next step, into that step of forgiveness and letting go and doing the work that we need to do, because we know there is only one presence, one God, God the good, omnipotent. But it's our own minds and our own programming that keeps us from being clear channels. And so we can't just put whipped cream and cherries over everything and say it's going to go away. There's a certain amount of work that we have to do. We have to roll up our sleeves, be willing to take a look at ourselves to a certain point, not get obsessed with it, but learn to look at ourselves, and then be willing to let go and let God. And so it's so important to move beyond what we have learned from the external world of what it means to be a man. For example, aggressiveness, being controlling, the strong silent type. It's another thing that men learn is it's not okay to cry. Being a sex symbol, being the sexiest man of the year, all that kind of stuff you see on TV. That's crazy. That's crazy stuff. There is a part of us, the whole part of us, the divine part of us, that knows the truth of what it means to have a balance of both masculine and feminine energy. masculine and feminine qualities. And so, here are a few examples of what some dads shared with me about healthy fatherhood. This does not come from me, it's coming from some people who I asked to tap into their own inner knowing, and I put the question to them. One man said, men don't have to choose between being sensitive and nurturing, or competitive or authoritative. It is possible to be both nurturing and competitive. Competition is not a negative thing. It's the ego that gets in the way. What this meant to him was that fathers can still wrestle with their kids, play sports, nothing wrong with that, and stay attuned to the emotional needs of their children. Another dad said, empathy may have been traditionally viewed as a mother's quality or a feminine quality. But it's really important for me to show my empathy and sensitivity to my children. As a father, I want to have a complete relationship with my kids. In my opinion, by connecting with our Divine Father, we are able to see the world from the child's perspective and recognize the feeling of empathy. Those who feel empathy for their children are usually able to feel more connected to them and enter into their child's world. Therefore, they can engage with them more fully and more authentically, with an open heart. This is what intimacy is all about. The intimacy is in relationship. It's about being able to connect with an open heart without having the stuff in the bag that we've learned from this unrealistic world. This is the stuff in that bag gets in the way of it. And so by letting go of that stuff and opening our hearts, we're able to become more intimate. It takes a lot of work, but it's worth it. Just taking one step at a time, putting one foot in front of the other. And so when we are connected with our Divine Father, the child feels safe. Not just physically safe, but emotionally and spiritually as well. Here is another point that a dad shared. He said, I have learned to allow my children to make mistakes. When my kids make mistakes, I used to find myself becoming judgmental, sometimes shaming, which is what my father did to me. That's what he said, I learned not to do that anymore. Now I'm able to guide them in making wiser choices for themselves as opposed to trying to control them. It takes a lot of work, but it's well worth it. And so now, what I would like to do is to have an opportunity right now for all of us to find one quality, one aspect that they learned from their fathers, that you would like to thank your father for. And when I say father, I don't necessarily mean your blood father. Many people have grown up in single-parent families. Many of us have grown up with same-sex families. Some folks have grown up with a teacher being a father. So it's not so much having the blood father, but all of us have had positive father influences in our life, whether here on this earth now or on the other side of life. And so part of Father's Day is an honoring of that father energy. So if any of you feel called or comfortable to do this and saying it out loud, and we're going to give you an opportunity. So before we do this, and I'll show you how to do this, before we do it, I'm just going to light a candle. And this candle represents the divine masculine, divine energy, and of course there's feminine within the masculine, masculine within the feminine. And so I'm going to light this candle, symbolizing the compassion and the love of the masculine energy. And it represents all the fathers. It represents our fathers, or it represents the fathers in the world. And the healing of the father energy, the healing of the masculine energy. The women had a movement, and the women's movement that brought them forward. I feel that men still have a ways to go before the woundedness is healed. So this candle represents the healing of some of the woundedness that the male energy of this world has had. And so let us begin by, and we'll start by saying, thank you, Dad, or Father, or if a name comes to you, that's fine, whether it's male or female. Thank you for the quality of ... So I'll start. Thank you, Dad, for the quality of loyalty and for the quality of stick-to-itiveness and for the quality of being a good provider. Thank you for modeling that for me, and I appreciate you for that. Deborah, would you like to?
Thank you, Dad, for your compassion, especially when I was little and I lost my eyeglasses, and you told me it would be okay and we would either find them or get me a new pair. And I appreciate your compassion. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to share?
I would like to thank my daddy for the quality that he instilled in me with love. He was my stepfather, but he raised me like his own, and I just want to thank him for the love that I felt.
I'd like to thank my mother for the quality of confidence. She's always taught me to be very strong and confident in myself.
And the same thing, my mom raised me also. You know, she was my dad.
I thank my father for teaching me the importance of persistence, discipline, and faithfulness.
Thank you, Dad, for your example of hard work ethic and tenacity.
Thank you, Father, for sending me to Sunday school to get rid of me.
Thank you, Dad, for your teaching me to be punctual, to be a provider, to let me know always that I'm good.
Thank you, Dad, for reminding me the strong ethical value of right and wrong and always to provide and that everything is okay.
Yes, I want to thank my dad for my sense of humor, because he had a crazy sense of humor. And I went through a lot of health problems, and he was there with me, so I want to thank him for that. And hearing. Even though he couldn't say, I love you, it was his way of saying that to me.
I thank my father for kicking me in the ass after I had a major brain operation, and the neurosurgeon stated that I'd have a hard time with my memory. And my father was a semi-pro boxer before he was joined World War II. And he said, Frank, make sure you get down to the YMCA and work out every day. And I did for 15 years. And I got every memory back. And no seizures since like 1985. So, and I keep going, keeping on. I do a mile walk, do my stretching and everything. Still not what I did, like 5-mile runs and 10 rounds on the heavy bag down the YMCA. 15 years. Remember what a why. That's how I kept my brain from using parts that nobody in this room will ever use for their entire life. Thank you.
First of all, I have a slightly different slant, and I'd like to thank my father for showing me the type of person that I did not want to be. And I would like to thank my mom for being there and being both a mother and a father for all these years.
I'd like to thank my dad for being colorblind, because he never saw people differently.
Thank my dad for making me know how to be an individual, not follow anybody else's lead. And he did his best to prepare me for his view of the world, even though it wasn't quite my view of the world, but he did his best to prepare me. And he gave me the attitude to never quit.
I'd like to thank my father for his loyalty and the quality of life that he has given me. And most of all, being an example of courage and accomplisher. I'm truly thankful for those qualities of my dad.
I thank my father for his joyfulness because he was always smiling.
Thank you, Dad, for always letting me know that you love me. You know, you weren't always there, but, you know, at least you always showed me love, so I really appreciate that.
Thank you all for sharing from your hearts. I'm sure all you dads, whether you're here on this side of life or the other side of life, have heard you and are honoring you right now. And so before I close, I'd like to share a dream that I had. I was in a church, and this male minister gave a sermon on Father's Day. He started talking about what Father's Day was all about. And he was pretty much in his head about it until he began to read a letter that he wrote to his father about how much he appreciated his dad. He read the letter with sincerity and broke up into tears and couldn't finish the sermon. He cried real hard, and it came over to him. And I came over to him and sat down next to him in my dream and held his hand. And I said, "It's all right. It's all right.